to a lot of youth in different cities that you stopped at. What's your take, because I think you've been early on this, on, 21 Savage had the streets movement that he kind of has been promoting these last...
Fuck like that, I am a street, I love the streets, I come from the street. I don't know that pussy.
Bitch ass up. Stop saying my motherfucking name. Don't think cause a nigga trying to change that. Man, y'all niggas sit down.
The hip-hop world is buzzing right now, and fans are split straight down the middle, because nobody expected this turn of events. For years, 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy existed in the same rap universe without crossing lines this deep. Different styles, different fan bases, different energy, but never outright war. That's why what's happening now feels so shocking, so sudden, and so dangerous. Insiders are calling it a major shift, one that could permanently change alliances in the rap game. It all started quietly. No explosive diss track, no viral interview, just subtle moves that fans initially brushed off as coincidence. A line here, a collaboration choice there, a follow, then an unfollow. But in hip-hop, silence can speak louder than words, and those paying close attention started sensing tension building under the surface. What looked small at first quickly began forming a pattern, and once fans connected the dots, the narrative exploded. Sources close to the situation claim that loyalty is at the center of this fallout. In an industry where alliances can mean survival, even perceived betrayal can spark serious consequences. Fans noticed 21 Savage aligning himself with figures known to be on the opposite side of NBA YoungBoy's circle, and the internet wasted no time jumping to conclusions. Was this a business move, a personal issue, or something far deeper that hasn't yet been revealed? What's made this situation even more intense is how emotionally invested the fan bases are. NBA YoungBoy's supporters are fiercely loyal and known for defending him at all costs. On the other side, 21 Savage commands respect for his calculated moves and quiet power plays. When those two worlds collide, things don't just stay online. They spill into real life, reputations, and long-term careers. Insiders say the tension isn't just lyrical or symbolic. Behind the scenes, relationships are reportedly strained, communication lines are frozen, and people are choosing sides. That's when situations stop being entertainment and start becoming unpredictable. Hip-hop history has shown time and time again that beefs rooted in pride, loyalty, and perceived disrespect can escalate fast, especially when egos and street narratives are involved. What's truly alarming fans is the tone shift. This doesn't feel like playful competition or temporary drama. It feels colder, more deliberate, like moves are being made quietly, without explanation. And when artists stop talking publicly, it often means things are being handled privately, and that's where uncertainty grows. As speculation spreads, questions keep piling up. Did something happen behind closed doors that fans don't know about? Was there a moment that crossed the line and couldn't be undone? Or is this the beginning of a much bigger conflict that's only just starting to surface? One thing is clear, the energy has changed. Whatever once existed between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy is no longer neutral. And if this situation continues on its current path, the fallout could extend far beyond music. Fans are watching closely, because history shows that when hip-hop beef turns personal, the consequences can be serious and sometimes irreversible. The first signs of tension didn't arrive with explosions or obvious confrontations. Instead, they crept in quietly, almost invisibly, through changes that only the most observant fans noticed at first. A collaboration that never happened. A public shout-out that suddenly stopped. Social media interactions that went cold overnight. In hip-hop, these small shifts matter. They signal movement behind the scenes, conversations that didn't go as planned, and lines that may have been crossed without the public ever hearing a word. People close to the industry say the relationship between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy was never built on deep friendship, but it was rooted in mutual respect. They occupied different lanes, yet there was an unspoken understanding. No shots, no sneak disses, no unnecessary tension. That balance, however, is fragile in a world driven by loyalty, perception, and pride. When one piece shifts, the entire structure can start to crack. Insiders suggest that business decisions may have played a role early on. In today's rap industry, who you align with publicly can matter just as much as what you release musically. Features, appearances, and behind-the-scenes partnerships all send messages. When 21 Savage began moving in circles that overlapped with people openly opposed to NBA YoungBoy's camp, eyebrows were raised. At first, fans brushed it off as coincidence. But those close to the situation say it didn't feel accidental. For NBA YoungBoy, loyalty has always been a core issue. His history, both personal and professional, has shaped a worldview where trust is earned slowly and lost quickly. Insiders claim that even perceived disloyalty can feel like a direct threat. When rumors started spreading that 21 Savage was choosing sides, whether intentionally or not, it reportedly struck a nerve. Not because of one single move, but because of the pattern it created. At the same time, those close to 21 Savage describe him as calculated and strategic. He's known for moving quietly, rarely explaining himself publicly, and letting actions speak instead of words. That silence, while powerful, can also be dangerous in moments of tension. Without clarification, narratives fill the void. Fans, blogs, and rival camps begin shaping the story on their own, often escalating situations faster than the artists themselves intend. As speculation grew, fan bases became emotionally involved. Online debates turned heated. Accusations flew back and forth. Supporters dissected lyrics, old interviews, and even body language from past events, searching for hidden meaning. What made this especially volatile was how personal fans took it. For many, defending their favorite artist felt like defending identity itself. That kind of emotional investment adds fuel to already unstable situations. Behind closed doors, insiders say communication between the two sides became strained or non-existent. When dialogue stops, assumptions take over. Every move is viewed through a hostile lens. Neutral actions begin to feel aggressive. Silence becomes interpreted as disrespect. This is often the stage where conflicts harden, because no one wants to be the first to reach out and appear weak. Another layer adding pressure was the broader industry watching closely. Labels, collaborators, and promoters pay attention to these shifts, because conflict affects money, safety, and long-term planning. Insiders claim some people quietly started distancing themselves, not wanting to be caught in the middle of something unpredictable. That isolation can intensify emotions, making artists feel cornered and misunderstood. What's most concerning to fans is the tone of the situation. This doesn't resemble the playful competitiveness that often fuels rap rivalries. There are no clear diss tracks, no direct call-outs, no theatrical back and forth meant to entertain. Instead, it feels restrained, controlled, and unresolved. History has shown that when beef stays quiet for too long, it can either fade away or erupt suddenly. Those familiar with hip-hop's past know how quickly as this chapter unfolds, one thing becomes clear: whatever shifted between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy wasn't minor. Something changed the dynamic in a way that can't be undone easily. Whether this remains a cold standoff or escalates into something louder depends on choices made off camera, away from microphones and timelines. Right now, the story feels like it's only just beginning, and the uncertainty is what makes it so unsettling. As the tension continued to simmer, the situation began taking on a heavier tone, one that extended far beyond music or online chatter. Insiders say this was the phase where the conflict stopped feeling theoretical and started feeling real. Not because of something publicly explosive, but because of the way people around both camps began acting differently. Conversations became cautious. Movements became calculated. Even casual interactions were reportedly viewed through a lens of suspicion. Those close to NBA YoungBoy's circle describe a growing sense of alertness. When an artist has a history shaped by real-life consequences, every perceived threat is taken seriously. Insiders claim that once the idea of betrayal entered the conversation, it was impossible to ignore. Even if nothing had been openly confirmed, the belief alone was enough to change behavior. Trust, once fractured, doesn't need proof to collapse. It just needs doubt. At the same time, People around 21 Savage say he remained unusually quiet. No public clarification, no attempt to control the narrative. That silence, intentional or not, allowed speculation to spiral. In hip-hop culture, refusing to address a situation can be seen as confidence or as confirmation. Fans and rivals alike began interpreting his moves as deliberate statements, even when none were verbally made. The internet played a major role in intensifying the situation. Blogs framed theories as facts. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Clips were taken out of context and reproposed to fit whatever narrative was trending that day. Insiders say this constant noise added pressure behind the scenes, forcing both sides to react not just to each other, but to public perception. When millions of eyes are watching, restraint becomes harder. What truly raised concern was the way people around the artist began choosing sides. Industry relationships are rarely neutral during moments like this. Producers, affiliates, and even friends often feel compelled to signal loyalty, either by association or distance. Insiders claim this quiet division made the conflict feel larger than two individuals. It started to resemble a widening rift between circles. Another layer that made things feel dangerous was history. Hip-hop has seen too many situations where unresolved tension led to irreversible outcomes. Fans know this. Artists know this. Insiders say that awareness created a constant underlying anxiety. Even if no one wanted things to escalate, everyone understood how quickly misinterpretation or ego could push events too far. There were also whispers about behind-the-scenes warnings. Not threats, but cautionary messages passed through intermediaries. Insiders suggest that some people attempted to de-escalate early, urging both sides to slow down and avoid unnecessary moves. The problem, according to those familiar with the situation, was that neither side wanted to appear like they were backing down. In a culture where image matters deeply, restraint can be mistaken for weakness. As weeks passed, the emotional weight of the situation began affecting creative energy. Insiders claim studio sessions felt different. Focus was harder to maintain. When conflict sits unresolved in the background, it bleeds into everything. Music, which often acts as an outlet, can also become a pressure cooker. Every lyric risks interpretation. Every bar feels like it might be dissected for hidden meaning. Fans started noticing this shift too. The excitement around potential collaborations faded, replaced by concern. Supporters began asking whether this situation could spiral beyond control. The phrase, "getting deadly," wasn't used lightly. It reflected fear rooted in past examples, not sensationalism. When fans worry about safety instead of songs, something has already gone wrong. What made this stage particularly unstable was the lack of closure. There was no clear incident to resolve, no single moment to apologize for or explain away. Just a buildup of tension fed by silence, assumption, and pride. Insiders say this kind of conflict is the hardest to manage because it lives entirely in perception. And perception, once shaped, is hard to undo. As the narrative grew darker, both artists found themselves trapped by momentum. Any move could escalate things. Any silence could be misread. Any association could be interpreted as provocation. That's the danger of unresolved beef. It limits options until every path feels risky. By this point, the situation had outgrown the original spark that ignited it. Whatever caused the initial shift was now overshadowed by everything that followed. Insiders believe this was a moment when the conflict became less about a specific issue and more about control, respect, and reputation. What happens next depends on whether clarity replaces assumption. But until that happens, the tension remains thick, heavy, and unpredictable. And in a culture shaped by history, that unpredictability is exactly why fans are worried. As the tension between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy continued to escalate, insiders described this phase as a turning point where uncertainty and risk became the defining factors of the conflict. What started as subtle shifts in behavior and social media interactions had grown into a situation that felt both pervasive and dangerous. Those close to the artist reportedly felt as though every action, every post, every association carried weight. and that one wrong move could ignite something far larger than anyone anticipated. People in NBA YoungBoy circle explained that loyalty has always been central to his world. When perceived slights occur, even if unintentional, they are rarely ignored. Insiders say that early warnings and attempts at private communication failed, largely because neither side wanted to appear weak or compromised. That fear of losing face only intensified the underlying tension, leaving relationships strained and communications guarded. Friends close to both camps noticed that interactions which might once have been casual or joking now carried heavy undertones. Meanwhile, 21 Savage camp repeatedly maintained a strategy of quiet calculation. Far from impulsive or reactive, they claimed to carefully monitor every public signal and media interpretation. Insiders suggest that in such conflicts, silence can be both a tool and a liability. Immediate missives, it also allows rumors to flourish. Fans and rival camps were quick to read into the absence of clarification, turning small coincidences into narratives of betrayal. This combination of deliberate caution and public speculation created a perfect storm. The emotional strain on both artists was palpable to those around them. Friends describe an atmosphere of exhaustion and constant vigilance, with every post or comment potentially sparking backlash. Neither could fully relax or focus. Even creative work, which often serves as the involvement of secondary parties, added another layer of complexity. Industry insiders, collaborators, and mutual acquaintances were reportedly forced to navigate a delicate balance. Attempting to remain neutral sometimes drew suspicion from both sides, while aligning too closely could have long-term consequences. According to those close to the situation, the growing network of individuals indirectly involved magnified the stakes, turning a personal conflict into one with broader ramifications for reputation, business relationships, and alliances within the industry. Social media amplified every nuance of the feud. Fans dissected posts, stories, and subtle gestures, analyzing them for hidden meanings or signs of escalation. Comment sections became battlegrounds for loyalty and opinion, often pushing the narrative further than either artist could control. Insiders claim this external pressure not only reinforced the conflict but also created an emotional feedback loop, where public perception dictated private behavior, and private behavior was constantly misinterpreted publicly. Compounding the issue, insiders note that past experiences and personal histories heavily influence reactions. Both 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy have backgrounds marked by real-world conflicts and challenges, which shape their responses to perceived disrespect or threat. Emotional triggers that might seem minor to outsiders were amplified by context, history, and personal pride. This made every interaction layered with tension, even when neither party intended confrontation. Financial and career considerations also reportedly played a role. Business decisions, collaborations, and branding are all closely tied to reputation. Any conflict, even a private one, risks public fallout that can influence opportunities and long-term partnerships. Insiders claim that both camps were acutely aware that the eyes of industry figures, promoters, and fans were constantly evaluating their moves. This awareness, while strategic, added immense pressure to an already volatile situation. By this point, insiders described the conflict as a high-stakes chess game. Each move required careful calculation, yet emotions constantly threatened to override strategy. Mistakes, real or perceived, had the potential to escalate the situation quickly. The power of perception, combined with loyalty-driven intensity, created an environment where small missteps could lead to disproportionate consequences. What makes this phase particularly dangerous, according to those familiar with the situation, is the unpredictability of outcomes. No one could anticipate how fans, rivals, or media narratives would respond to each action or silence. Every decision carried weight, and the longer the tension persisted, the more entrenched both camps became. The public may see this as entertainment, but insiders stress that for those involved, the stakes are real, personal, and potentially far-reaching. As this chapter unfolds, the conflict between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy has moved beyond simple rivalry. It now encompasses trust, loyalty, reputation, and the consequences of public perception. The situation is unpredictable, and each passing moment carries potential for escalation or resolution. Those close to the situation insist that the next steps will determine whether the feud continues spiraling or finds a path toward de-escalation. But for now, the tension remains palpable and the outcome uncertain. As the conflict between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy progressed, insiders report that the tension had evolved from simple disagreement into a complex web of mistrust, strategy, and emotional strain. At this stage, the stakes were higher than ever. It wasn't just about perception or rivalry anymore. The actions and decisions of both camps were beginning to have real-life consequences. People close to the situation describe an atmosphere that was constantly tense, with every move being scrutinized by the other side and by the public. Friends and associates in NBA YoungBoy circle describe the period as one of heightened vigilance. Even casual interactions were loaded with meaning, and past incidents were constantly brought back into focus as examples of disrespect or betrayal. Insiders say that this kind of environment leaves little room for rational decision-making because every choice is filtered through the lens of conflict. Ordinary misunderstandings risk turning into serious confrontations when interpreted as intentional moves. Meanwhile, those in 21 Savage camp reportedly continued to exercise calculated silence. They observed, monitored, and responded carefully, understanding that any public comment could escalate the situation. While this approach helped avoid direct confrontation, it also created a vacuum where assumptions filled in gaps. Fans and rival observers quickly interpreted the lack of explanation as confirmation of alignment against NBA YoungBoy, amplifying speculation. Insiders emphasize that in hip-hop, perception often becomes reality, and controlling perception is as crucial as controlling action. One of the most critical elements during this stage was emotional exhaustion. Sources say both artists were visibly drained by the constant tension. Emotional energy that might have been devoted to creativity or personal growth was instead consumed by the ongoing conflict. Studio sessions became high-pressure environments, with every lyric or verse being examined for possible hidden meanings. Even private interactions were approached cautiously, with both camps reportedly overanalyzing words and gestures. This exhaustion, insiders suggest, contributes to impulsive reactions, as the mental bandwidth to process situations rationally diminishes. The involvement of external parties further complicated matters. Collaborators, friends, and family members were pulled into the drama, sometimes willingly and sometimes by circumstance. Insiders claim that these secondary players often had to navigate delicate lines, appearing loyal without alienating the other side. Even neutral stances could be misinterpreted as betrayal. The result was an increasingly tangled network of influence, where each new interaction carried the potential to escalate the feud. Social media played a pivotal role in amplifying tension during this phase. Fans dissected every post, comment, and public interaction, turning even minor gestures into points of debate and speculation. Insiders say this constant external pressure created a feedback loop, where each artist's behavior was shaped by not only their perception of the other, but also by their perception of public perception. This dynamic made it increasingly difficult to distinguish between genuine feelings and reactions dictated by audience expectations. Adding to the complexity were personal histories and emotional triggers. Insiders note that both artists have backgrounds marked by real-world struggles and conflicts, which influence their responses to perceived threats. Seemingly minor slights could trigger intense reactions because they resonated with past experiences. Friends close to both camps describe this as a period where emotion often overruled strategy, increasing the likelihood of mistakes with lasting consequences. Industry and career considerations also exerted pressure. As the conflict became more public, insiders claim that business opportunities, collaborations, and brand partnerships were affected. Labels and promoters reportedly monitored the situation closely. Understanding that ongoing tension could influence not just public perception, but also profitability and market positioning. Every move, therefore, carried dual significance, personal and professional. The stakes were further heightened by the unpredictability of fan reactions. NBA YoungBoy's supporters are known for their loyalty and willingness to defend him aggressively. 21 Savage commands respect for his careful, calculated approach and his ability to maintain control in tense situations. The collision of these two fan bases amplified risk, as online disputes could spill over into real-world consequences. Insiders stress that when fan energy becomes part of the equation, even small miscalculations can escalate quickly. By this stage, insiders describe the situation as a delicate and dangerous equilibrium. Every action, every decision, every moment of silence has the potential to shift the balance. The feud had moved beyond music and social media into emotional, social, and professional realms. Friends warn that without intervention or change in approach, the situation could escalate further, with consequences that extend far beyond what the public sees. Ultimately, this phase underscores the dangerous intersection of pride, perception, and power in hip-hop. Both 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy have demonstrated the capacity for careful strategy and emotional intensity, but the combination of public scrutiny, personal history, and fan involvement has created a volatile mix. Insiders say that while the public may see the drama as entertainment, behind the scenes it is high stakes, high pressure, and potentially life-altering. How both navigate this period could determine not only the future of their relationship, but also their careers and well-being. As the situation between 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy reached its most intense stage, insiders describe an atmosphere where uncertainty and tension were at an all-time high. By this point, what had started as subtle signals and cautious maneuvers had evolved into a multi-layered conflict affecting emotions, relationships, and professional decisions alike. Those close to the artist say the pressure was no longer just about perception or reputation. It had become personal, weighing heavily on both sides. Friends of NBA YoungBoy explain that the combination of perceived slights and public speculation made each decision critical. In a world where loyalty is paramount, every move, no matter how minor, was scrutinized for hidden meaning. Whether it was a social media post, a collaboration choice, or an offhand comment, nothing escaped analysis. Insiders claim that this created a constant state of alertness, with the fear that one misstep could escalate into something irreversible. Meanwhile, sources close to 21 Savage describe him as deliberate and measured. Even when emotions ran high, he reportedly chose calculated moves over impulsive reactions. While this approach can prevent immediate escalation, insiders warn that it also allows narratives to form unchecked. Silence and restraint, while strategically smart, often fueled rumors and speculation, amplifying the pressure on both camps. Fans and rivals alike interpreted quiet moves as confirmations of alignment or opposition, further entangling the two artists in a web of perception and expectation. Emotional fatigue became a dominant factor. Insiders say both artists were visibly drained from months of tension, public scrutiny, and the constant need to monitor reactions from every angle. Creative energy, which often serves as a coping mechanism, was instead consumed by strategizing and anticipating moves. Even minor interactions, private or public, required analysis to ensure they didn't unintentionally escalate the situation. According to insiders, this mental and emotional strain increased the likelihood of mistakes, misunderstandings, and reactions that could have serious consequences. The involvement of secondary parties added another layer of complexity. Friends, collaborators, and associates often had to tread carefully, balancing loyalty with self-preservation. Insiders claim that even neutral stances could be misinterpreted, turning allies into potential sources of tension. Each individual connected to the situation became a node in a larger network of influence, where a single misjudgment could ripple through both camps, raising the stakes for everyone involved. Social media continued to amplify the drama. Fans dissected posts, comments, and interviews with microscopic attention, assigning hidden motives to even the smallest gestures. Insiders say this created a feedback loop where public perception directly influenced private behavior, and vice versa. The result was a heightened state of vigilance, with both 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy forced to navigate not only their own reactions but the reactions of millions of followers and critics. Another factor complicating matters was history and personal context. Both artists have lived through situations where respect and loyalty carried life-altering consequences. Insiders report that these experiences heightened sensitivity to perceived disrespect, making small slights feel far larger than they might appear to outsiders. Emotional reactions were amplified, and patterns of behavior that might normally be manageable became volatile. Industry and career considerations added even more pressure. Insiders claim that labels, promoters, and business partners were carefully monitoring the situation, aware that ongoing tension could affect deals, collaborations, and public perception. Every move carried both personal and professional weight, meaning that even private decisions could have public ramifications. This dual pressure intensified the stakes, leaving little room for error. Fan involvement also played a critical role. NBA YoungBoy supporters are fiercely loyal, and 21 Savage commands a fan base known for carefully analyzing his moves. The collision of these two communities amplified risk, as online debates and clashes frequently spilled into real-world consequences. Insiders stress that when fan energy becomes a factor, even carefully measured actions can escalate unpredictably. By this stage, insiders describe the situation as a delicate balance, precarious and fraught with potential for escalation. Every choice, every post, and every interaction carried weight, and the potential for misunderstanding was immense. The feud had become more than music or entertainment. It was an intricate mix of loyalty, perception, emotion, and consequence. Those closest to the situation believe that the path forward is uncertain. Without intervention, communication, or a shift in approach, the potential for further escalation remains high. However, insiders also note that this is a moment where measured decisions could create space for de-escalation and even resolution. The choices made now may determine whether the conflict continues spiraling or finds a path toward stability. Ultimately, what began as subtle tension has evolved into a high-stakes, multidimensional conflict. The consequences reach beyond social media and music, touching relationships, mental well-being, and professional opportunities. For fans and industry observers alike, the situation is a reminder of how quickly perception, pride, and loyalty can turn a professional rivalry into something much more serious. The next moves by 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy will likely shape not only the immediate outcome of their feud, but also the long-term trajectory of both their careers and personal lives. This story is far from over, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What started as subtle tension has now evolved into a conflict that affects careers, relationships, and even personal well-being. Fans are watching every move, every post, and every interaction, analyzing for hidden meaning and anticipating the next escalation. Now it's your turn to weigh in. Do you think 21 Savage and NBA YoungBoy will find a way to de-escalate, or is this feud destined to spiral even further? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation with others who are following every development. If you want to stay updated with the latest insider details, breakdowns, and behind-the-scenes analysis, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. The next chapter could change everything, and you don't want to miss a single moment of what's unfolding in real time.